Greetings, everybody. My name is Sheila Voss. I serve as the president of the board of directors of Nature Preserve Foundation, which is the nonprofit that organizes and manages the Watershed Nature Center. So welcome to the Watershed Nature Center. We're here on September 24th, 2020. What a year 2020 has, right? But I'm so glad to welcome you to this great place, tell you a little bit about it, and then invite you to come whenever and however you'd like. Come with family, come with friends. So a little bit about Watershed Nature Center. So right now we're standing on one of the tree overlooks, the overlooks. There's several here that you can see a wide swath of this place. And from here you can see our three basic habitat types. So we've got, of course, at the heart of Watershed Nature Center are our wetlands. So you have our wetland lagoons right there in the heart and in the middle of the watershed. And then ringing the wetland lagoons, you have our woodlands, our forests. So those forests and woodlands provide all sorts of habitat for native animals, as well as walkable, accessible trails for you and me to explore. And then in addition to the wetlands and the woodlands, we have our grasslands, or otherwise known as prairies. So right here you see a sea of grasslands, and you can't probably see it here, but we have monarchs and black swallowtails and eastern tiger swallowtails and all sorts of cool native prairie plants that represent a native grassland ecosystem. So the watershed is 45 acres in total, and it's 45 acres of those three major habitat types: wetlands, woodlands, grasslands, as well as accessible trails. It is a city park. So I don't know if you know that. So the Watershed Nature Center is a City of Edwardsville city park. It's known as the outdoor gem of the city's parks, of the city parks network of open and accessible parks, and we're so proud of it. And that doesn't happen by accident. So the Nature Preserve Foundation has a small staff. We have Tom Doyle, our restoration director, and then we have a great group of volunteers that help us, restoration volunteers. And then we have partnerships with all sorts of entities, not only a partnership with the City of Edwardsville Parks and Recreation Department, but also with universities. A cool partnership that we have is with Lewis and Clark Community College. Their ecological restoration program comes here and does prescribed burns. Prescribed burns are a way to use fire to help prairie and grassland habitats regenerate and become healthy, and make sure that those invasive species or plants that are not supposed to be here stay down, and those native species get a chance to establish and grow and thrive. So we have all sorts of partnerships with universities, with volunteer groups, as well as with visitors of all ages and abilities. So if you're listening to this, and if you've been a visitor to the Watershed Nature Center, thank you, come back again. If you've never been to the Watershed Nature Center, I invite you. I personally invite you to come. Every single day of the year is great, but right now it's fall. We're 2 days into fall season, right? And you can see all sorts of interesting evidence of the fall season. You can start to see some of the trees turning. You can see the goldenrod and the asters in bloom, providing that late season nectar source for pollinators and bees. You can hear the symphony of insects all around. You can chill out. I mean, so what I mean by that is, right now we know that this year, 2020, is not the easiest, right? And there's a lot of angst and stress, and nature can do lots of things, and one of the things it can do is to help all of us calm down and find places of peace, and places where we can literally slow down, literally take our time to observe the living world, feel wind, feel sun, and it's super, super important to do that. And whether or not you do that at a place like the Watershed Nature Center, or in your own backyard, or in your own neighborhood, take every chance you can to do it. Challenge yourself to go outside at least once a day and look for evidence of the living world. Listen for evidence of the living world. Maybe take a stab at sketching evidence of the living world. I promise you, it will round out your day. It'll slow your heartbeat. And it'll also probably spark some curiosities. What is that plant that I saw? What is that? What was that butterfly? I wonder which one it was. We hope that your observation of all the things in the outdoor world all around you can lead to new questions and new curiosities and new interests. Because if there's anything that the world needs right now, it's more people becoming more interested in how nature works, how reliant we are on healthy environments for the air we breathe, the water we drink, and how we need more ambassadors and advocates for the living world. So with that, I welcome you to the Watershed Nature Center. I hope, I invite all the teachers from whether it's Woodland or Lincoln or any of the District 7 schools to come out. This is your outdoor classroom. Consider it yours. And use it and benefit from it and enjoy it in all sorts of ways, whether you're coming at it from a science perspective, a literacy perspective, an arts perspective, a math perspective. This is your classroom for the making. So with that, on behalf of the Board of Nature Preserve Foundation, thanks for visiting today at the Watershed Nature Center. Thanks for the teachers who are willing to come out here and explore alongside with me. And we hope to see many of you here this fall and throughout the year.